Mentioned today that in today's newspaper there has been an article about a woman who was harassed, who was allegedly raped in a courtroom by the lawyer that she went to seek help to get a divorce from her husband. I'm asking you, what are the laws doing here? Laws cannot do anything until you bring a structural change. This is what I'm talking about. Implementation is what I'm talking about. You have to bring this implementation. We have harsher laws like death penalty, which are for the rarest of rare cases. Now I ask you, haven't rapes still been occurring after December 16, prior to December 16, despite having a death? There's something as harsh as death penalty. My point is, it's not laws, it's structural changes, changing the mindset of the people. That's what I'm trying to answer.
As you have mentioned that gender is not a homogeneous entity, then how do you see the nexus of caste and gender? Can you give some examples to validate your argument?
Yes, I believe that a woman cannot be looked at simply as a homogeneous entity. Yes, there are caste biases, there are racist biases, there are oppressions, there are nationalistic, there are oppressive nationalities that are working in this nexus of gender. You cannot look at it that way. That is what I'm trying to say. When you're asking me about examples, I'll give you examples. When Tamilian women are being raped viciously in Sri Lanka, is it because simply they are women? No, it's not because they're simply women. It's actually because you are fighting against them. When I'm talking about northeastern women, Kashmiri women who are being sexually harassed in Aspa regions, why is it happening? Is it simply because they're women? No, it's because racism that's happening. It's because you're trying to oppress their nationality. This is what I'm talking about. This is the nexus of caste, race, gender working together in a country, in a society which is patriarchal. This is the overarching structure, and these are the inherent flaws that we have.
You say that past 16 December protests were meaningless. Justice was demanded for Soni Sori, Bhabri Devi, victims of Kunan Poshpora. They held 1 billion rising for Soni Sori. Would you still dismiss the movement?
I've never dismissed the movement. What I'm saying is that this movement, you cannot even call it a movement. आप लोग का still भी अभी भी hangover है अन्ना हजारे का वो कीर्तन. 40,000 people were already there in that Jantar Mantar protest. After that, you went with your placards. So are you trying to say when a 10-year-old Dalit girl in Delhi on the same day, December 16, was raped and murdered, that wasn't brought up? What I'm trying to in Delhi, yes, it was in the newspaper, but you don't try to talk about that. This is because you only concentrate on media-centric attention issues. That is what you want. Placard leke jao Jantar Mantar. That's what you want. Kirtan banane jao. Movement bulate ho isko. There weren't the movements before this. You call it a women's movement. Wasn't women who came out standing naked saying Indian army rapers? Wasn't that a women's movement? No, you only call your movement that you went at December 16 marching. That's what you call a movement.
कॉमरेड माफ करिएगा अगर आपको कॉमरेड शब्द से आपत्ति है, क्या आप एक कारण बता सकती हैं कि जंतर मंतर पर होने वाले आंदोलनों से आपको क्या तकलीफ है?
कॉमरेड शब्द से मुझे कोई डिफिकल्टी, I do not have any issues with it. With the word comrade, what I'm trying to emphasize here is that your idea, your notion of comrade comes from wearing a kurta, patiala and everything. That's what I'm trying to disagree with. That a woman, when DU students came out marching with their boyfriends, suddenly you had issues with women, DU girls coming out with their boyfriends, wearing clothes with the way I dress. You call this elitism. This is what I call feminism. This is what I am against.
I now invite Shirupa Bhattacharya